Okay, fashion dolls, we're gonna try one more time to see if it will work. All right, and we're back. We were discussing the angry black issues because the weather's kind of bad outside. I'm in South Carolina.
I'm just gonna say this
Oh,
while I got you. If we have to reschedule for next week, I'm all yours because this is definitely a conversation that we should have, and I know the circumstances are beyond your control, so I don't want you to get frustrated. I love you. I got you.
thank you so much. And that's what it's about. Yala Van Zandt said it best, and I was telling Donna this, who was in the audience earlier. I said, I'm not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. So 100% black women, we have to uplift one another. And we were talking about the angry black woman narrative. Abby, how do you feel about it? Because you work in beauty, you work in makeup, you do makeup, and you have your YouTube channel. And for us as black women, we know that the beauty standards of what they call beautiful have definitely shifted. So I'm asking both of you, Dana and Abby, how do you feel about it? You know, the angry black woman narrative and also the standards of what beauty is.
Well, the beauty standard was always set by my life. So I've never subscribed to what the I love my I can so I've never subscribed to what the your in regards to putting on makeup on my trying to shape my face and um we are the blueprint to what women are trying to look like for thousands of dollars that the Lord now um as for being black, sometimes because we have like please don't police my emotion. They're my emotions. I'm allowed just like you're allowed to get just because I I made my voice just wrong. If I stand up for you're allowed to do it. Why am I?
Right.
And not only speaking of policing, Dana, I'm gonna ask you this. We seen Chloe Bailey's performance for Feeling Good, and it broke Twitter. People are talking about it. Well, why would she do this? She shouldn't have been gyrating it. That's another thing that I hate is when they police us as black women, what our bodies are supposed to quote unquote look like, what our facial features. And, you know, even when it comes to, like Abby said, the standards of what beauty is, if we want to get work done, and I can give you several women who've been accused of lightening their skin. Serena Williams is an example. Lil Kim, we've seen the change over the years. JT from the City Girls is another one as well too. And I know for me being a woman of a darker hue, uh, lighting is key. You know, because Dana, you said you work in fashion. I'm a fashion girl, as you guys can see, but uh, we know how that lighting is, how it can be tricky, even when it comes
Right.
to finding the correct foundation shade. Back in the days, because I've interviewed models, I had Connie Fleming, who's walked the runways for Terry McGlair and Vivian Westwood on my show. And she told me the models back in the day would have to mix their own foundation
Yeah.
shades because it was a shade bit too light for them. And they had to find a custom blend. Even when it came to conversation, Monique really made me uncomfortable a bit because it's just like respectability politics. It's like black women, we can't have these things. We can't have what makes us feel comfortable because we're being told that it's wrong. Our hips, our bodies, like Chloe Bailey, I thought she did an excellent job in the performance. She nailed it. And Nina Simone would be proud. That's my opinion about it. But For y'all, what you want us to do as black women, you wouldn't tell Queen Latifah or Lizzo to leave their hips and their breasts at home. But when we come in voluptuous as ourselves, you tell us to tone it down. That's too much. So what is too much? That's the question that I asked to some of my male followers, because I know a lot of y'all gonna get pressed after this interview. But I'm calling it and saying it what black women have been saying for years. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being told that our bodies are too much. And I can remember reading a story where this black girl was on the swim team. And you know how you have to wear the swimsuits, not with the two piece, but the full swimsuit.
Mm-hmm.
She's too shapely to wear that. So you would expect us to leave our breasts, our hips, and our booty at home. And you've got the Kardashians going to the chop shop to steal our features. That's a whole different thing. Y'all want our jazz, but y'all don't want our blues. Y'all don't want the problems and the struggles that we as black women, we face on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis. Y'all want to date our men. That's a whole different conversation. But give black women their flowers where black women is due. And I can go all the way back to Toni Morrison, to Maya Angelou. They were shapely. So even when it comes to Meg Thee Stallion's music video, her most recent one, I didn't see a problem with WAP or any of the other songs. But that's a whole different thing. You're trying to police black women on how we should be, feminine and embrace our sexuality, and more importantly, embrace our bodies. Like Lizzo, y'all give her so much flack. But Sweetie's doing things that Lizzo can't do. Sweetie's out here mixing burgers with pickles and potato chips and all kind of stuff. But if it was Lizzo doing this, it would be a big problem. My thing is this: all black women, we're beautiful. And this is the perfect example right here, this panel. We come in perfect different shapes, sizes. And 50 Cent and Lil Wayne, I hope y'all are paying attention to, because I'm challenging y'all. Y'all said that y'all were looking for the quote unquote exotic types. We know what you mean by that. The ambiguous looking non-black women like the Jennifer Lopez's and the Shakiras. But what you fail to realize is what you're looking for brought you into this world. A black woman brought you into this world. And we are exotic. We come with different hair textures. We come with different skin tones. We come with different body types. We come with different eye colors. I don't even know what I'm mixing at. I haven't done my ancestry, so I don't know if I'm Jamaican mix or what. But I know I'm a black woman at the end of the day. I can't erase that. So what you fail to realize is that what you're looking for is right there staring you smack in the face. And she could have given birth to your kids or stood there and paid for your studio time. Black women, we've done so much for this country. We're the ground print. And it's like Dana said. So Dana, how do you feel about, the standard images of what beauty is? Because so much has changed throughout the years. Like, it's not tall, thin, European. It's definitely shifted.
I think it's great that it's more inclusive, because there are certain things that I think everyone deserves to feel beautiful and deserves to feel wanted. And granted, that starts from within, but representation is beyond important. Representation across gender identity, representation across complexion, representation across shapes, sizes, economic background. It's very, very important. One of the things that I enjoy the most, and something I didn't really think that much about, was how many people are from like small towns like mine who reach out to me, because when you're in a small town, you feel like you can never get out. I enjoy seeing people who look like me. I'm never going to have hair flowing down my back. That's not me. It's just not me. So to see someone who's a little thicker around the middle, and bald, and I do struggle with acne, and I can see that person on a billboard or in a magazine in a positive way, makes me feel good, because it's like, yes, someone sees me and they acknowledge me, and they acknowledge me in a positive way. And I'm never going to be 6 feet tall. I'm never going to be skinny. I'm never going to not have a big butt and big thigh. Like, that's the way Donald and Kathy, that's my parents. That's the way Donald and Kathy and the good Lord made me. And this is who I am, So I think that's very important. We all want to be seen. And especially with social media, there are enough people coming at us every single day who, none of us are perfect. I've made mistakes on the red carpet. I've made mistakes in real life. And people go and beat you, educate you, and uplift you. And I think it's important that we're transparent about our journeys as much as possible, that we're comfortable with, and that we show love to each other and show inclusivity and representation. We want our daughters, our sisters, our friends, our brothers, our whomevers to feel good and to feel seen. Like, that's what it's all about. It's really genuinely about love. Like, that's what this life is about. It's about connecting with other people. It's about love at the end of the day. And that can sound like a Hallmark card or whatever, but that's truly what it's about. It's like taking those times and having those moments and really touching and connecting with people. And like, we're all of importance. We were all created by something higher than us that felt for whatever second to breathe life into our bodies because we deserved and needed to be here. That's how I feel, you know? And so I want to tell everybody's stories because I think everybody's story is important. And you can learn something from it. If you open your mind, you don't have to always agree with everyone, but you can learn something from it.
Abby, do you have any questions for Dana? Because you know this is a great conversation. Donna, if you want to join the panel, because I'd love to have another girl up here. It's good to see different Black women from different walks of life, just representation. Because I know little girls watch Style by Stevie, and they're like, Miss Stevie, I get DMs. I get DMs, Miss Stevie, thank you for saying this, for saying the things that we as Black women are afraid to say when it comes to colorism and patriarchy, because we know that, you know, I've heard Natalie Cole and Mary J. Blige and so many of the greats say, you know, it's a man's world. And it is. We're just women surviving and living to let you know that we have a place here as well, too. You know, you can't have all the power, but it can't just be you bringing home the bacon. But hello, we're bringing home the bacon as well too. Times are changing, and it's not the 1950s where we just pay Betty homemaker and stay home.
Right.
So it's not going to work like that. So Eb, do you have any questions for Dana? And Donna's joining us.
I just want to say real quick, as the times change, we're noticing that those old regimes are trying harder and harder and harder to hold on to those times.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think we're entering a very interesting phase of transition. But hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you guys?
We're good.
Excellent,
Now,
excellent. So I was asking Eb, does she have any questions for Miss Dana? And if you have any questions too, you can ask Dana as well. And this woman right here that I'm looking at to my right is worked with Essence Magazine, has done the red carpet. She's done so much, and she's an idol of mine. And for people to say they look up to me, and me, I have role models as well too, because I forgot to shout out April Ryan as well too. April Ryan not here doing the damn thing 100%. And when it comes to holding this particular person in the White House accountable, I don't even have to mention his name. Y'all know Donna, we talked on the phone. We already know how 2020 has been. And if it wasn't for people like her and Angela Rye and so many other that have been holding this particular president accountable, Maxine Waters as well. How do we as women, how do we feel about ladies in politics? Abby, you go and you ask Dana, and then we keep the conversation going. It's so good.
So the question is in a little different. It's in regards to your,
It's in regards to what? I'm sorry, you were going out a little. My hair?
Yes, ma'am. Because when I put
Wait, I'm having some audio issues. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Is everybody else having audio with issues or no?
Yes.
Can you get it?
I can really hear her. I heard her say something about your hair.
No, I heard hair. I didn't hear after that. I'm sorry.
Get so much feedback, regardless of what it is that we do to our hair. If we wear it natural, it's unprofessional. If we wear weave, then we don't love ourselves and we want to be white women. If you know, always something. So I wanted to know what made you decide to cut your hair as short as it is. I knew at one point you were bald. What made you make that particular decision?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always had like a little bit of fuzz. I did it after a breakup. Honestly, I did it after a bad breakup in February of 2012. I was in Brazil with two of my friends for Carnival. It was an unhealthy relationship, and I said I need to cut this off. I needed. If I could have peeled my skin off like a snake molting, I would have. I was like, I need to cut this off. Cut it.
So it was like a spiritual thing for you, kind of, sort
It
of.
was what?
I said, so it was more like a spiritual thing, because like that's how I am. Like if I feel like I have like negative energy, I do the same thing. I will cut all my hair off and be like, I just threw it all of the negative energy
Yeah,
away. Like I
absolutely.
just recently did that.
Absolutely. I cut it all off. Now I cut it off, and my friends and people who know me laugh about this, but I cut it off. It was carnival. So we're in the streets the rest of the day. I did it in the morning. I woke up the next morning to go to the restroom, and I kind of had forgotten I had done it, and I freaked out. And then when I got back to Brooklyn, a very good friend of mine took me to a barber, which was the first time I ever had a barber cut my hair. And they evened it out and cut it properly. And I cried. I hated the way I looked. I thought it was so ugly. I didn't like my face. I didn't like my skin. I picked myself apart. And I realized I was treating myself the way he had treated me. And I was speaking to myself in a negative way. And I said, Dana, I remember I was standing in my apartment in Brooklyn off of Gold Street, and I said, you're not going to speak to yourself this way. I struggle with how I speak to myself, which is something I actively work on to this day and every day. And I said, you're going to keep this until you're comfortable. And then fast forward about 4 to 6 months, it just felt like who I am. And if you would have told me that I would still have this look for the next 10 years, I wouldn't have believed you. I now cut my hair myself for the past few years. But that's how I got to that space. You know, growing up, especially in the deep South, my mom was Creole and all that kind of stuff. Cutting all your hair off, that's just not something that you do, right? But it was definitely a mental journey, an emotional journey for me.
Yeah. I think I go through the same thing. And me, I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm a very outspoken person. That's why when you was like, you'll never be 6'1". I'm 6'1". I'm very tall, and I'm very built and stuff like that. And I'm 26, and I've been through a lot. And that's how me and the beautiful sister up there actually met, because I was actually, how they say people don't give people their flowers while they're still alive. I was actually, and I don't want to jump too far into the topic, I was actually trying to give a fellow I don't know what to call the person, but a fellow person some flowers. And I guess when I got on there, somebody spoke on something that I'm very open. So somebody spoke on me taking perks before, and they said, oh, she's probably high off of perks. And I said, bitch, mind your business. Don't worry about what I'm doing, because guess what?
Right.
Perks don't lie to me. They don't talk shit to me. They don't talk about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried about none of that. And when I said it, the person like kind of snapped, like, oh, don't curse, this, that, and the third. And this is a person who curses all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I apologized and stuff like that. And that person took me off the panel and then like started bashing me and talking about me and stuff like that. And at that point, I'm like, that's one thing I don't like. Once you cross me, you lost me. I'm trying to give you your flowers, but you're trying to bash me. And then like the person brought me back on the panel and tried to play like they didn't realize it was me. Like, oh, is this the person that was just the person? And I'm like, if you don't like who I am, that's fine. You don't have to like me, but I'm going to be me to the day I die. I came in this world by myself, and that's the way I'm going to leave. And I'm not going to change who I am for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like the way I talk, but that's who I am. You like my body, you like the way I look, but when I open my mouth, you don't like that. Well, I can't help you with that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the
can't
whole
help you with
panel was, but I do personally take issue with anytime someone pokes at you and you poke back. Now it's a problem. Wait
that.
now.
Right.
Don't poke if you can't
Right.
take the poke. That's, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah,
like
don't
I
walk
said,
in the
I've been on the
kitchen if you
panel,
can't
but
take the heat.
yeah, you have a right to speak up for yourself. You have a right to defend yourself, you know?
Yeah, and that's all I was doing. And once the person, said that he had an issue with the way I responded, I immediately, apologized. Like, I apologize, and they were just like, oh no, you have to go, you have to go. Like, and I'm just like, well, this person came on here and called me out my name, like literally bashed me, like. And you talk about self-hate and all of this stuff, and because I'm defending myself, I'm wrong.
Right.
You might not like how I defended myself, and I apologize immediately about the way I initially reacted, because a lot of people don't like cursing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you gonna call me everything but a child of God, then I
No, that's not
have a lot to
acceptable.
say back.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, don't do that to me. I'm from the hood. and I don't have to be ghetto, but if you bring that out of me, I'm going to definitely show you who the fuck I am, and that's just that on that. But my thing
My
is,
brother always says, if you keep looking for me, you're gonna find me.
yeah, and that's how I feel. And it's like because I'm tall, because I'm 6'1", because I'm two something or whatever the case may be, I'm the aggressor.
Um,
No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm a Cancer. I'm the most loving person in the
mhm.
world. I'll give the clothes off my back. But if you walk inside of a cave and wake up a grizzly bear when it's time for them to sleep, I'm gonna get grizzly.
And that's fair. And that's fair. That's totally
And
fair.
that's one thing I wanted to talk about too, Dana. We know that, and I said this before we got cut off in the beginning of the interview. Donna and Abby, I'm gonna ask y'all too. We know that 2020 has been the year of the black woman, and we're Malcolm X said it best: the most disrespected human being on the face of this earth is us, the black woman. The black man should be out here protecting us. With so much has happened. And I was reading on Essence 11, and I know you heard the story, Dana. It broke where 11 black women have been killed for just saying no, dating rejection, and the male ego is something. And we're not man bashing here, but it's just like at a certain period of time, when are black women? When are we ever gonna be safe in this country? And it's just like some of the men have failed us. And at the same time, we stick our necks out on the line for y'all. Y'all don't do the same for us in return.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my
Yeah, there
question that
are
I'm asking you,
kings.
ladies. Yes,
And respect
we call
women.
them kings, girl. And the thing about it is, we stick our necks out on the line for them during the protests during the summers. For George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It's been black women leading those protests.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that I'm asking each and every one of you, ladies, Dana, Abby, Donna, do you feel like black men are, some, not all, are ever going to change and start protecting us? Because, like I said, the story the I was talking about where these three women were at a restaurant, and this guy could not take no for an answer. He goes and he pulls a gun out on them and chases them through the restaurant. So, when are black women ever going to get protection in this country? That's the question that I'm asking you, ladies. When are we ever going to get that protection?
I think that's such
You know,
a loaded question and a heavy question, to be honest with you. I think there's so many layers to that. And I don't, when I throw the baby out with the bathwater, I don't think all black men are a particular way. I don't think all men are a particular way. I do think, as a whole, socially, we have issues, and like the fact that you can't take a no, the fact that, and it can cost me my life is a problem. The fact that I can walk down the street and if you hit on me, it's easier for me to tell you I have somebody in my life and you respect that than for me to just say no, thank you. Or one of the things I started doing was I got a internet number and I'll hand that number out and versus my real number just to just to be safe. Um,
Yes.
I think platforms such as social media and that especially after 2020 society seems to be more open to having these conversations, that a shift can and will happen and it is necessary to happen. Um, how quickly it will happen, I don't know. To be fully honest, I don't know. I don't know if I have the tools to answer that.
I honestly think they're just afraid because I always say, you know, they may be the head, but we're the neck, and without our neck, they can't move their head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like if you know it's okay for us to it's okay for us. I feel like they think that we're still in, back in the day where it's not okay for us to be alpha. They want us to sit back. They want us to obey by their rules and stuff like that, but they don't even know how to take care of us properly. They can go out, they can go cheat and they can go do this, but they want us to sit back and they want us to shut up. But then when we go out there and we do it, we're whores and we're this and we're that. And when a man
Double
does it,
standard.
oh, they the
Yes.
man.
Right. Those double
They
standards.
cool.
Yeah.
Everything is okay with it. And I just don't agree with that. Like I'm very outspoken and I just feel like, when it comes to to men or whatever, if you don't like who I am, then you just don't like who I am. And I do the same thing. Like I would rather just give a guy my number to for him so he won't get aggressive before I just be like, no, I'm afraid that he might kill
Attack
me or
me.
try to kidnap
Yeah.
me because he's upset. So I'll just be like, here or whatever the case may be. Because it's times that, a guy be like, what's up, beautiful? Can I get your number? And I'll be like, oh no, I'm married. And they'd be like, well, fuck you then, bitch. And this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And
And you're
you
like, where
ugly
the hell did
anyway. And I'd be like, well,
that come from?
I wasn't just ugly when you wanted my number. So I'll just be like, here. And at one point in time before me and my husband got together, I had got my husband's number. And my husband is actually one of my friend's cousins. So she like, girl, how my cousin number getting your phone? I said, girl, that is like the fucking party line. I just give my numbers out so guys will not bother me. So it's a million numbers
She said
that's
it's the
probably in my
party
phone,
line.
and I probably don't even talk to him or whatever the case may be, because I didn't know who it was. I'm like, is it any messages? So I didn't talk to him, so I didn't know who he was, but I just gave him my number and stuff like that. And as you know, the world works, we wind up meeting and falling in love and stuff like that. But I would literally just give my number out so I wouldn't have to go at it with God.
There was a young lady in Brooklyn a couple of years ago on Eastern Parkway who a guy wanted to dance with. Eastern Parkway, they have the Labor Day festival. Who wanted to dance with her, and she was like, no. I don't know how she responded or whatever, but the fact of the matter is she said no, and he shot her, and she died because she didn't want to have a dance. Like,
And Harlem, New York, too, outside where the black woman was attacked by multiple men, and one of them almost bit her eye
yeah,
out. Like, what is the world coming to? Why are y'all are so wrapped up in this male ego. This male ego is something serious. Y'all got to let go of that. Y'all have to let go of
but I
that. When
think
a
that a
woman
lot of
says
those instances
no,
too. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I was just saying, like when a woman says no, that means no. It's all about consent at the end of the day.
Agreed.
And these men have gotten so
And I
bold
can
and
almost bet
aggressive, they
you
force themselves
this
on
this
you.
this innocent topic right here, we're probably gonna get bashed about this, like, oh, this is a male bashing topic. No, it's not a male bashing topic. We're just stating the facts that we're considered diary of a mad black woman when we don't consent to something that guys want. We can't just say no and it be okay. It's like we're disrespectful or
It's
something like that.
dangerous.
Why can't we have a right to say no? We don't have a right to say no. Like I seen something not too long ago. They had a rape day, and this was a
Oh yeah,
day
I
that
saw that.
men were supposed to be able to go around and rape a woman on this day and stuff like that. And I just was like, where do people get this from? Hey,
It was
Mr.
on
T,
TikTok or
where do
something,
people?
right? When is it on TikTok?
Yeah,
They were
I'm like,
promoting it. Yeah.
I'm and a lot of women was like, well, I got my knife. I wish a nigga. And I just was like, why do people think this? Why is that okay for them to, like, you have a mother, you have a sister. How are you guys even promoting this? Why are you even taking this on? Y'all are taking this conversation and really just dragging a rape day for it to be okay to just go around and attack women and rape women. Like that's just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's just horrible. Like when I was younger, I was sexually assaulted or whatever. And when I was 11 at this time, and when I finally went to the police, and when I went to the special victims unit, I remember them asking me, and the guy was way older. Are you sure you didn't lead him on? Are you sure you didn't do something to make
Gaslighting,
him
victim
feel like
blaming.
you wanted this to happen? And I'm sitting there as a child, so I know an adult probably would be sitting there. I'm sitting there as a child, like, lead him on. First of all, I don't understand how that would even make sense to you. He's a grown ass man. Nothing should have led him on. I shouldn't even be in his eyesight as something as sexual or anything like that. And people be like, oh, when stuff happens, why do women wait so long to come out and say stuff? Because when you do, it's like, well, are you sure that you didn't do anything? Are you sure you didn't give him a sign? How do you give him a sign? You can walk inside of somewhere and just like a dress and put it on and feel beautiful. And it's like, oh, you're too sexy. So you wanted to get raped. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Wait, what did you say, Jody?
And that ties into the
Yeah.
category of rape culture, where they blame the woman. Oh well, what were you doing? And I remember, because I used to watch the show all the time. Murder She Wrote. What's her name? Angela
Angela
Lansbury.
Lansbury.
Yes, she came out and she said something, and she was just like, "Well, women shouldn't dress this way." I wore a green dress, and y'all know what green dress I'm talking about. The one that has the thigh high slit. And I wasn't going out. I just did it for the show to promote my friend's company. Shout outs to Blue Haze Clothing. I'm all about supporting black owned businesses here on my platform. If I was to wear that dress out, men would have definitely would have forced themselves, and it would have been a lot of victim blaming. Like, why does she wear that dress? She shouldn't have been wearing that dress. Stop policing the woman. The man should be able to control his urges. If you can't control it within yourself that bad, there's something wrong with you and not the woman. It's not the victim's fault. And I noticed with the case with T.I. and Tiny and Meg Thee Stallion, it was a lot of gaslighting and victim blaming. And it's just like, haven't we been through enough trauma as it is in this country as black women? Enough? Like, what about our psyche? And even we're going to shift it a little bit and talk about mental health, Dan, because I've seen you've talked about that on your platform as well, too. And I'm going to start it off with Ev. Mental health within the black communities. For so long, we have been taught to sweep the problems under the rug. You know, just pray about it. Just go to God, baby, because it's that Southern thing. You grew up down here in the church, and they're just like, mental health. There's nothing wrong with you. But in our nationality, is for us as black people, colonized 600 years of oppression. It is definitely doing something to your psyche and mental health. And I'm seeing what's going on with Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka with the tennis situation. I can only imagine what these ladies are battling with behind closed doors. And I'm thankful for actresses like Taraji P. Henson who have been speaking out on mental health. Jennifer Lewis is another one as well, too. And they've been speaking out about mental health within the black community. So El and Dana and Donna, what are your thoughts on this, ladies?
First and foremost, I want to say, Donna, thank you for sharing your experience with us. I know it's not easy to share our story,
Yes.
so thank you, and I want to honor that. And I will have to jump into. I would just like to say that, as you said, in our community, often it happens in this house, stays in this house. You don't discuss our business elsewhere. And I think that by having conversations, you'll understand that many of us are dealing with some of the same issues. We are dealing with some of the same traumas, or we do know people that are dealing with some of the same traumas. And by speaking with each other and connecting, and even we can learn about other resources in our community. We can learn how our peers dealt with certain things. I love that so many people are now openly talking about therapy and saying it is okay to go to therapy. It is okay to speak with someone and to someone. And as I grow in my career, the level of criticism and negativity that comes towards me just for being me or a mistake I made or something I did right or whatever the case may be, I know how I take it to heart. So I can't imagine how, as you mentioned, a Serena or Naomi, the levels at which they're dealing with it at their level of celebrity and status. And you have to take, at the end of the day, once the lights go off, the cameras go off, the tennis court, the balls stop bouncing, all you have is you. And you have to take care of yourself. And so I think it's important that we continue to normalize discussing mental health. And if you need to shut down your Zoom, if you need to take a break, if you need to go for a walk, do what you have to do. If it's meditating, if it's speaking with a therapist, if it's being able to have a good friend that you feel comfortable with speaking to, because none of us are perfect and none of us can do this alone, in my opinion.
At all.
And I'm so sorry I'll have to hop off for a call, but I would love to join you again for another conversation. So it was a pleasure meeting y'all. I'm sitting so much love, and we will chat again soon.
Definitely.
All
I'm
right.
so honored that I got to speak with you.
Child,
And I'm going to
please.
chop
We
it up.
friends. We friends now. Yeah, stay
That's
safe in
right.
that weather. Stay
I
safe in that
sure
weather.
will.
All right, I'll speak with
You
y'all
too.
soon.
Take
All
care,
right. Bye.
ladies and gentlemen. Miss Dana Blair. All right, ladies. Eb, you want to pick it up? We were talking about mental health, and then we can get into these topics. I know we're starting to show off a little bit late, but this is the girl talk that we needed, ladies, because for us as black women, for so long, we've been silenced. And here on my platform, I want black women to know that they have a safe haven where they can come and be the voice, even though I have two male co-hosts that are not here. One is graduating. Johnny is graduating pretty soon, so he couldn't be with us today, unfortunately. But I guess, and Friday, today will be our day, ladies. So, Ed, what are your thoughts on mental health? Because you work in beauty, you work in the field of beauty, and makeup is therapeutic. I know when I got a good contour and that highlight, girl, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
It,
um, it does something to it. Makeup enhances our soul. So, El, what are your thoughts? And then Donna, what are your thoughts?
oh, I am